Hey house guests, welcome to today's Big Brother Canada 9 updates and spoilers. Our house guests of the day are Randy Westgard and Rosemary Gross. Thank you both so much for the support. We could not do this without you and we appreciate it so much. So thank you again. And if you guys want to be house guests of the day, check out our Patreon link in the info box below. Alright, so when we left off yesterday, this game is heating up. And of course something huge happened, as I was filming yesterday's spoiler, so it wasn't in there, but don't worry, we got it all today. But yeah, when we left off, Victoria really wants LaToya to go this week. She does not want Jed using the power of veto on her. So Victoria told Jed, if you use the power of veto, I'm going to put Ty up on the block. And I went through this whole conversation in detail in yesterday's spoiler, so if you haven't seen that yet, you probably want to pause and check that out because this is a lot of really important information. But Victoria already swore on her loved ones that she would not put up Ty or Jed this week. So they were really freaking shook when she told them this. And she was like, look, I'm going to have to put up Ty if you use the veto. Because she's playing it off like she wants Kiefer out this week. And that if the veto is used, Ty is the only person that LaToya wouldn't try and flip the vote on. But in reality, she wants LaToya to stay on the block because she wants LaToya out. So this was so freaking reckless, but also so entertaining. Victoria's HOH week is really just incredible to watch. So after that big meeting, Jed said, all right, well, I'm not going to use the power veto. I'm not going to risk Jed going up on the block. I'm not going to risk Ty going up on the block because those two are super tight. Yeah, I wrote that wrong in my notes. But yeah, they're super tight. He's not going to do that. Also, the Sunsetters, minus Tina, are freaking pissed at Victoria now. And they're all saying, oh, I'm going to put her up on the block next week if I win HOH. But they're still trying to find a way to possibly intimidate Victoria or, something like that. Try and get her to change her mind about this week and about her target. They're still not even sure if Kiefer or LaToya is her target. She's telling them that it's Kiefer, but what she's doing and what she's saying is not super lining up. So they're not really sure about that. Is Victoria working so hard to keep LaToya on the block because she's the real target? Yes. Okay, so Tina and Tara could be the deciding votes this week. Really more Tara, because if Tina sticks with the Sunsetters, it would be, 4-4, and then Tara would break that tie, because she's really, truly in the middle. But you gotta think, Tina and Tara are probably gonna vote together, because they've gotten very, very close. So they were discussing the vote in the OLG room, and it's difficult. It's a tough week for them because they are close to LaToya and Kiefer, and they want to work with both of them moving forward. So Tara says, this sucks, but I think it's going to be LaToya going home this week. She says there's nothing we can really do to save either one of them at this point, power veto-wise. And Tina is just she's really struggling. She's I could vomit, She's close with Kiefer and LaToya. And they're both going to be expecting her vote this week. So Tara says it's going to be okay. She's talking about the breakdown between the two sides, and she's I don't fully trust Kyle and Ro. But she also does not trust Beth, Ty, or Jed. So there are people on both sides that she's kind of iffy about. And she says, you know what? I can see right through all of these people. These people are only talking to us now because they need us. They need our votes this week. They need the numbers. So Tara is I'm not going to get freaking fooled by all that nonsense. So Tina is worried that it's going to look like she flipped. Basically, no matter how she votes this week, somebody's going to be upset with her. And Tara's no, it's not a flip. Tara's plan is to tell people, I promised Victoria that I would vote out her target. So, of course, earlier in the week, it's oh, Kiefer is Victoria's target. But when she votes out LaToya, she's going to say, well, Victoria's target changed. So I followed what I said I was going to do, and I voted out her target. But Tara is still holding out hope that Jed will use the power veto, and Beth will be the replacement nominee and be voted out. They both agree. They can't push for that, though, even though that's something they would love. They want to let other people do that, let other people do the dirty work, and they want to stay in the middle, and ideally with whoever has the numbers at the time. And right now, that seems to be the oddballs. The oddballs are in power. So then Tina spills to Tara that she was approached to be part of the other side, the Sunsetters. And Tara was like, oh yeah, me too. And Tina's like, no, I was approached early on in the game, meaning like she was a member of it in the beginning. Yes. And Tara tells Tina, I totally understand this is extra difficult for you this week, so you need to make the decision that's going to be best for your individual game, and that's not going to disrupt what the two of us have going on. I'm not going to be upset if you have to vote like the other way or whatever. So she says it's not the end of the world if we've got eyes on both sides, So Tara says the only people that she really trusts right now are Tina and Victoria. She says, you know what? Victoria's actions have been matching what she's saying to me, and Tara really appreciates that. Tina, she's not really sure what the best move is at this point. But if you look at it, if these two do split their votes and Tara votes out LaToya, then LaToya's going to go, because that would make it 5-4. So it doesn't really matter which way Tina goes. I mean, it's going to matter for the dynamics of the house moving forward and for Tina's game, but as far as the eviction goes, it comes down basically to what Tara decides to do. And right now she's leaning towards evicting LaToya. So then Jed, Ty, LaToya, and Beth decide they are going to go to the HOH room to talk to Victoria. They're going to try and change her mind, see if they can get anything going here. It's a Thor versus 1 situation, which is interesting because they were so upset the other day when Kyle and Ro were like ganging up on Kiefer 2-1. But this is okay. Okay, so anyway, yeah, they go to the HOH room. Victoria's in there, and Beth says, okay, it's out there now. We know that you told the guys that you want to work with all of us, as a group of 5. But she says it's a scary situation right now. It feels like you're kind of threatening Jed and Ty with this whole POV thing. And Victoria says, no. No. It's not a threat. She says, I don't know if I want to do this conversation, because this is the choice that I'm making. It's done. I'm not changing my mind. You will see after the eviction. Kiefer will walk out the door, and we can all then go to the Expedia room and solidify working together. Victoria's incredible. She is freaking lying. She is not planning on Kiefer walking out that door on Thursday, but she's playing along. So Jed says, I don't understand why you are like threatening to put Ty up on the block, and you don't want LaToya to come down in the first place. Like, what's the deal? Why do you want one of us up on the block when you're saying you want to work with us next week? It doesn't make sense. And Victoria's like, you'll see when LaToya does not go home this week. And she explains again why Ty would have to be the replacement nominee if the veto were used, because she does not want to flip on her HOH. She says, I can't trust that LaToya is not going to try and flip the vote and have Kiefer stay. But she says, I do want to work with you guys, though, moving forward. So then Jed's like, well, why are Ro and Kyle telling Kiefer that he is not going home this week? You've been saying that Kiefer is your target and you've got the votes to do it, but they're telling him that they're going to vote for him to stay. And Victoria says, that's on them. I'm not that close with them. They're only like in an alliance together, but obviously that's supposed to be on the down low. But Victoria says, I have 6 votes for Kiefer to go. So then LaToya's like, okay, I kind of feel like I'm your target this week. That's a good call right there. She says, I was not the only one involved in the failed flip last week. Like, why am I taking the fall for this? So while they were having this conversation, they're both talking at the same time. And LaToya's like, can I say what I'm saying? And then you can talk and I'll listen, because that's how a conversation works. And Victoria's like, LaToya, Don't effing talk to me like that. Oh my god. Ah! So Latoya's like, I'm not sure, again, why I'm being blamed for the flip. And Victoria says, you were the initiator. You would not let it go. You just kept going with it, even though we all decided that we were going to vote out Josh. So that's why. And also, week 1, Latoya was the one pulling people into the bathroom, like, one by one, to get the vote to flip against Julie. So Latoya's like, well, if that's the situation, like, I don't know how you expect us to work together moving forward. So Jed says to Victoria, if you don't plan on working with Ro in the future, why don't you put him up, and then we'll go ahead and vote out Kiefer like you want. Oh my god, come on. You're really telling me that they would vote out Kiefer and not Ro? Come on. Victoria knows that's bullshit. So Jed says, Ro would put all of us up, but you're keeping him off the block. What? Because he's happy that you didn't flip the vote last week? So Victoria says, yeah, that's right. I'm the HOH, and I can't play next week, so I need to make sure that I'm going to be good. So Jed's like, all right, so you want us, who can play next week, to potentially be coming after you. Whoa! Victoria says, okay, so you guys are going to come for me then? Oh, they definitely are. And Jed says, no, we're not going to, but I'm just saying. We've seen Jed make threats to people like this before. That is definitely, like, his thing. So Ty says to Victoria, your fingers all seem to be pointing in our direction. Like, how are we supposed to trust you? And at this point, it starts getting a little more heated. Victoria is definitely raising her voice, and she says, yeah, because you guys effed me. She says they didn't listen to her about the flip. She said that she didn't want to do it, and they kept putting pressure on her right up until, like, 20 minutes before. She was not feeling that. And she says, I've been wanting to work with you guys since day 2. And every time I've given you guys a chance to prove your loyalty, I haven't gotten it. You know, she's not wrong, though. She has approached this group of people multiple times about working together, and they never followed up on it. They never wanted to do it. And they've also, like, thrown her name out as a potential nominee before this week. So it seems like they want to work with her now that she's in power. So Ty is like, well, is it something that you still want, like, to work with us moving forward? It's a little too late, right? So Victoria says, yeah, I do. No. But she's made her decision at this point. She's not going to burn bridges and go back on other deals that she's made with other people. She says, I don't have a vote this week, so I suggest you go and talk to other people. Oh! And she says, what a coincidence. I'm HOH, and now you guys want to work with me. I think that's what the kids are now calling clocked. So then they try to bring up Kyle sucking up to her this week, and Victoria is just not backing down. She's like, no, I've made my decision. Just stop. So then Beth is claiming, oh, we've always been with you since day 1. Jed says that he and Ty have been Victoria's closest friends in here. And still, Victoria is not backing down. She says, if you guys don't want to work with me after this week, like, F it. I don't care at this point. Oh, and yeah. So they continue talking about this. It's like the same stuff. And then a few minutes later, Big Brother announces that the power veto ceremony will be in 1 hour. What? It's almost always on a Monday. So this is freaking crazy. But again, Jed is asking Victoria to put somebody else on the block as the replacement. And Victoria's like, okay, Beth? You want me to put Beth up instead? And Beth is sitting in the room. She doesn't have much to say now. She's completely silent. Just like, yeah. So after all that, the feeds go down. And they stay down for like 2 hours. Why? You said it was an hour until the veto ceremony. So we didn't get to see like all the last hour lead up to that. But I have to say, in this situation, Victoria held her own. She stuck to her guns. She was not going to be, pushed into doing something that she didn't want to do. So when the feeds come back, we find out they had the power veto ceremony, and Jed did not use it, which means that Latoya and Kiefer remain up on the block. And from what the house guests were saying, it sounds like Jed said in his speech to Victoria, hopefully your target is who you say it is. Oof, that's freaking awkward. So he's basically saying, like, I hope it's going to be Kiefer going this week and not LaToya. But he's working with both of them, so it's super awkward. But yeah, after the ceremony, Kiefer is crying in the defender room. I don't know if it's because of that speech or what. I mean, he's been crying a few times throughout this week so far. But Jed and LaToya are in there with him, and he says it's because he's worried that LaToya might go this week. You're on the block with her. But he's also been apparently talking a lot about, like, leaving lately. So I don't know if he actually wants to go or if he's just, like, playing that up so he doesn't seem as threatening to everybody else. I'm sure it's a mixture of both. But LaToya's telling him, like, don't be all mopey. You could be the one staying. So, you know, you gotta fight. So then Jed shares that after the POV ceremony, Victoria came up to him and said she was never actually going to put Ty up on the block as the replacement. Oh my god, so they were not happy about that. Yeah, I think she probably would have ended up putting Beth if they tried to call her bluff, but I'm sure they did not like hearing that. So, yeah, Jed figures she would have put up Beth, which also would have been bad for their group. So, he felt like he couldn't use it. Alright, so then Ty joins them, and they start talking about Tina and Tara and where they stand in the house. So Kiefer says, we can't trust Tina anymore. She's in a lot of the same conversations that Tara is, and Tara tells me some stuff that she hears. Tina tells me nothing. Oh, shit. I had a feeling that was going to come back and bite Tina in the butt, because she's been sharing some information which has not gone over well, and then she's choosing not to share other things that they're hearing from other places, so she's not doing a very good job of choosing which information to share and which to keep to herself, so it's catching up to her. But this group agrees they now trust Beth more than they trust Tina. They say Tina did not put in any work this week to try and help the Alliance out. Everybody else was hustling, trying to sway Victoria one way or another. Tina, nope. So they don't think that at this point Tina and Tara are fully committed to the other side, which they do have an alliance set up with the other side. They're in the oddballs. However, they are still kind of like, they're definitely playing the middle at this point and trying to see, like, who's going to win HOH next week. And that's going to make their decision of, like, who they're working with for that week. So these Sunsetters that are talking about it, they're like, you know what, we'll just use them while we can for numbers, and then we'll get rid of them when we can't use them anymore. Okay, so the Sunsetters plan to work on Austin and Brayden for votes. Good luck with that. Also, votes for who? LaToya and Kiefer were both in the room for this conversation, so whose votes are you trying to get? Like, who are you trying to get the votes for? It was kind of awkward. But now it's time for Tina Watch. Woo! What's Tina up to? As of right now, she is leaning towards voting with the oddballs, meaning voting out LaToya. And she will tell the Sunsetters, hey, the votes weren't there anyway. So I had to do what was best for my game, and that was to vote with the majority. So she's also, what's swaying her decision here, she thinks that she can make it deeper into the game with the oddballs. Yeah, I could see that. But who knows? So then, last night, oh my god, this is so upsetting. Last night, Victoria overheard some of the Sunsetters talking about her, and when she was telling the oddballs about what happened, she was like, oh yeah, I heard them be like, oh, do you think she heard that? And apparently she stood up and was like, yes. But when she was telling the oddballs about what happened, she was like, yeah, I effing heard R words. No. I just don't even understand how people are still using the R word. Especially Victoria, because she just seems like so sweet. Like, I wasn't expecting that from her. She apologized, like, right after she said it. It sounds like Big Brother also pulled her aside to have a conversation with her about it. But this just sucks. It was really disappointing to hear that. I didn't like it. Not cool. But hopefully she will learn from this, because that is a very hurtful word. But today, Latoya started to campaign a little bit. I don't think it's really working, but it's early on in the week, so you never know what could happen. Latoya was also looking for clues or twists or something in the ball pit, and she did end up finding a purple ball that she set aside. I mean, there aren't, I don't know if there's more than one purple ball in there, but there aren't many. If there are any more, I don't know. So I don't know if that means anything. I don't know if they're just messing with people. I don't know if it means nothing at all and they weren't planning on messing with people with that. But there's got to be something going on with that room because I don't think the have-nots are even sleeping in there. So there's got to be some sort of a twist or something related to that room. But even if there is, I feel like in the past, whenever there is some sort of a twist that has to do with like a secret room or something, it's not like in play until Big Brother lets them know like something's in play. You know what I mean? So I don't know if it's going to pay off at all or what. But anyway, she was also looking around the whole entire house for anything that could be anything. And at one point this afternoon, Big Brother started playing sound effects over the intercom. Like there were bells ringing, there was like a wah, 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 wah. And everyone was like, what the hell is this? They start running towards the ball pit and then the feed's cut. But when they came back, it didn't seem like anything really had happened. So I don't know what's going on there. But other than that, today the house guests were putting makeup on the guys. I don't know if this is just like a boredom thing or if this is part of maybe like a Marsha the Moose task, maybe? I don't know, but there's so much going on game-wise. We don't need like a special activity this week. Like, I want to see all the strategy play out on the episodes, especially things that we did not get to see because the feeds were down at the time, but who knows what's going on. So let me know what you guys think about all this in the comments. We've got, let's see, 3 days left until the eviction. Should be interesting once the campaigning really starts to pick up, so we'll see what happens. And until next time, much love.